Smile, the makers of world-class software, are sponsoring this edition of MacVoices. Smile makes one of the premier PDF utilities with PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. You use PDFs, I use PDFs, everybody uses PDFs, so having a utility that lets you do more with your PDFs just makes sense. And of all the PDF utilities, PDF Pen makes the most sense. The folks at Smile have been out there making PDF editing and manipulation easier and more approachable than anyone else. So what do I mean by editing and manipulation? Just that. If you thought you couldn't do anything with PDFs other than read them, you haven't met PDF Pen. With PDF Pen, you can not only edit, but also mark up and annotate PDFs. If the PDF came out of a scanner, you can run optical character recognition to turn it into editable text. And that's just the beginning. Need to redact something so that it absolutely can't be read? PDF Pen can do that. Need to password protect a PDF? PDF Pen can do that. Need to add or remove an image? Need to add, delete, combine, or even number pages? You can even add audio notes and attachments. If that isn't enough, step up to PDF Pen Pro to be able to create and edit forms in PDFs, create and edit tables of contents, and even turn full websites into PDFs for offline review. And of course, because it's Smile, there's a version of PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad as well, so that you can sync PDFs back and forth and still have powerful editing and annotating tools available on your iOS device. There are a host more features that might solve even more PDF problems for you. So go right now to smilesoftware.com, take a look at the full feature chart, and download a free demo version and try it out for yourself. Find out how convenient and useful having full access to your PDFs is, and then buy straight from Smile. And don't forget PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, available on the App Store. That's PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro at smilesoftware.com. More world-class productivity tools from Smile. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing support of MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. And folks, this is another Road to Macstock show. We're speaking with all of the presenters, or as many as we can get before we head to Woodstock, Illinois and Chicago. We're talking to hopefully some of the sponsors. We're talking to a little bit of everybody who will make Macstock this year something special, like it always is every year. This time, though, it's a real pleasure because not only do I get to talk about Macstock, but I also get to welcome, for the very first time on MacVoices, Rosemary Orchard. Rose, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I am genuinely very honored to be here.
Well, thank you, but I'm honored to have you because not only will you be a Macstock speaker, but you have quite a bit of visibility in the Apple community. And so I think let's start with that. I know where I know you from, but I'll just let you tell everyone what you do in the Apple space.
Well, primarily people are probably likely to know me from a podcast called Automators on Relay FM, which I host with David Sparks, where we talk about making your devices do your work for you, which is, of course, something everybody wants to do. But people may also know me. I've been a guest on Mac Power Users a few times, and I also write for The Sweet Setup and Mac Stories. So I'm all over the place, which is great fun.
Yeah, you really are. Is there any place you don't write? Maybe.
Well, that's a good question.
One or two.
Yes.
Well, and I guess sort of in keeping with the Automators thing, that is, you're going to take that and translate that into a Macstock session.
Yes, exactly. I thought I would show people how to make the most of the devices that we carry with us all day, every day, our iPhones. And so why not Sirify your iOS life?
I like that. I didn't know that was a word.
Well, I made it up, but I thought it sounded cool, so we're keeping it.
It does, yeah. Now it's in the lexicon. So it's interesting that you would say that you're specifically targeting not just the smart speaker version or the HomePod version of Siri, but you're targeting using it on a regular basis when you're doing everything out and away from your HomePod or away from your home.
Yes. Well, the thing is Siri doesn't necessarily involve talking to your device, which is something a lot of people don't know. Siri's there in the background suggesting things for you and trying to make your life easier. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people miss out on. And I would genuinely like to help people understand so that they can make the most of these amazing features. You know, when it prompts you to call somebody on their birthday, that's Siri doing that. So, how can we make this kind of thing better? How can we actually make it so that it's useful? Because at the moment, it reminds me to call David Sparks when it's still the night before his birthday rather than his birthday because we're in different time zones.
That's a really interesting approach, and you're right. I think most of us, and I fall into the same trap, don't think of Siri. We think of Siri as primarily the voice assistant aspect of it, and there's so many things going on behind the scenes that we forget about.
Yes, exactly. And of course, now we have all these great Siri shortcuts, which are where applications can explicitly tell the operating system this should be available to Siri. And we can even take it a step further and make shortcuts ourselves, which do certain things. And I really want to teach people just how to put a few simple ones together that make maybe their morning routine or picking up their kids from school easier, because what else is your technology for?
Yeah, please make my life easier, Rosa. I would really appreciate it.
That's the aim. I want to show people some of the things that they can do and give them the tools so that they can go away and make these devices do what they want for themselves. Because there's nothing more frustrating than Siri going, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand that." And so let's try and work around that and fix that.
So you said simple, and Siri shortcuts, the bit that I've played with them, they are fun to work with. They're fun to play with. They're not terribly difficult. I'm sure you can make them difficult if you want, but
Of course,
is
yeah.
this something that anyone can do, or do you think
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
don't have to have a lot of tech savvy?
No, I think all you need to do is you need to think about things logically, and when you get stuck, then you need to know where to find the help information, and that's part of the trick to it. In the top left icon of every action block in shortcuts, there's actually, if you tap on the little icon, then it actually tells you what it does. But understanding what this means is perhaps something that people don't understand. What is input? What is output? And so I'm just going to try and help people put this information together so that they can then take this and then use it by themselves. And I'm going to give them some examples that you can take away with them as well, because of course, there's nothing better than being able to just install something and have it work and then take it apart and break it, and then you can reinstall it if you can't fix it. So
Yeah, you're right. That is a great way to learn things, is to have someone give you something, you use it, you modify it, like you say, you break it, and if you break, then you just reinstall it.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I really want to show people how easy it can be to get started with this stuff. And then hopefully they can take it and do amazing and wonderful things. Because as you said, you can make shortcuts incredibly complicated, but there's no need to. If all you ever need is it to list the next 3 calendar events and to remind you to call your mother because it's her birthday, then it can do that as well. So.
Rose, I don't want to take us too far off topic, but I have to ask. Um, we're talking about Siri here, of course, because this is an Apple show. But how do you feel about the Google device, about the Amazon device? And I'm using those phrases so I don't trigger anybody's devices. How do you feel they compare to the capabilities of Siri?
Well, for a long time, they were most definitely streets ahead. But I think with the introduction of shortcuts, Siri is now on par, or in some cases way ahead, because you can explicitly say, when I say this phrase, go into my calendar and get the events for today and check to see if anybody's got a birthday, and check to see if there's anything on my reminders list that's due today, and check my groceries list to make sure that I'm not going to run out of milk and things like that. And being able to customize it so specifically to your needs without needing to understand programming or even do anything other than pick up your iPhone, I think is going to be extremely helpful for a lot of people. There are, of course, advantages. For example, the Amazon lady is built into applications like Sonos. And Sonos is a great system. I have one in my living room. I have the Sonos One, which does have the Amazon lady in it. And it's really useful. But I find myself turning to Siri just because I know that she's secure and that Apple respects my privacy. And I think that that's something that we are going to need in the future devices that respect our privacy, which is the other reason why I want to show people, how to make the most of it.
Every time, it seems like every show that we do now, with just about any topic, security, privacy keeps coming up. And Apple has really taken a stance on privacy, not just a marketing stance, but a stance in practice,
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the other companies. And there was a story, I guess it was just last week as we recorded this, about Google coming out and saying that, well, they're very privacy oriented, and Mark Zuckerberg coming out saying, well, they need to focus on privacy. And Apple's been doing this the whole time, and unfortunately the horse is out of the barn with the other two.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about them.
Yeah, I mean, there was something on Twitter just this week about how they accidentally leaked the location data of a bunch of users to advertisers, and the only way that you could respond to the pop-up on twitter.com was click got it. Like, there was no way to say, like, I'm not happy with this or anything like that. But I do think that people in the future will see how much privacy is important. If they've been using Apple devices all along and Apple services, then they're probably in a very good stead anyway. So let's stay on that bandwagon and try and keep our data to ourselves, because who knows what other people are going to do with it.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by Smile at smilesoftware.com, the makers of world-class software. Did you know that you can go to textexpander.com right now, download a free trial, and get your first taste of what so many in the Apple community consider to be their most essential productivity software? I'm at the top of that list, because when I go to use a Mac that doesn't have TextExpander installed, anything I write ends up looking like hieroglyphics, because I'm using the snippets I've created, but they aren't there. When that happens to you, you'll know that you've become a full-fledged TextExpander convert. We all have things we type over and over again, day in and day out. In fact, we can often get pretty darn good at typing them. But why bother? By creating a TextExpander snippet for those items, just a few characters turn into anything you want. Your name, the date in the format you prefer, your address, an email signature, anything. Or maybe you're a little more ambitious. A TextExpander snippet can also turn into a paragraph of text, or a page of text, a block of HTML code, and much more. Setting up that snippet will take you well under a minute, but it pays you back every single time you use it. Let's not forget about the human factor. No matter how good and fast we get at doing all that repeat typing, mistakes can still be made, especially when things get routine. By using TextExpander snippets, you introduce consistency at a level that you just can't get any other way. I really want you to try TextExpander by Smile at textexpander.com. It's your first, easiest step on the path to being more productive. As always, thanks to Smile and TextExpander for being the longest-running sponsor of Mac Voices. Now, sort of under the heading of full disclosure, I do have Amazon devices.
Of course.
And do you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the Sonos one, which has got the Amazon Lady built in, and we have some other devices floating around, though predominantly, actually, it tends to be family members that have got things like Fire tablets and Fire TV sticks and things like that.
Well, I ask because every week I get an email that says, "What's new with Alexa?"
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and I get, they have all these skills that are, they're party tricks at best. It's like, okay, why? I don't care, how to roll a dice or something. I don't even begin. I look at them and I just get annoyed. And yet people seem to feel that, well, that's why Siri is, that's why the Amazon lady is so not advanced, but so responsive, and Siri isn't. And first of all, my point is, well, you're giving up privacy, but who cares about doing some of those things? And now with shortcuts, I feel like there's an argument back that you're going to address at Macstock that, well, yeah, I can make Siri do exactly what I want. I don't have to wait for somebody to create it.
No, that's just it. And I think, I mean, of course, there is room for party tricks. So I keep seeing skills advertised on Amazon, like finding out what days the bins will be collected. So when your trash gets picked up, which actually, if you have a weird schedule that changes every so often, is quite useful. At the same time, maybe that information could just go in your calendar. It depends on you as a person. But being able to do this by yourself and modify it as well when things change, because I think that's another problem with a lot of the pre-built skills for the Amazon and Google services is that somebody builds them and they're great and they work until something changes. So trash collection starts happening on Thursdays rather than Tuesdays. And the person in charge of the skill doesn't care anymore, so they don't update it, which means that you now just have to uninstall it and look for something else. So the ability to control all of this yourself, you are in charge of this. You've created this. So you can do whatever you want with it, which means that when things change or stuff stops happening or there's a weird change in schedule because it's Christmas or something like that, you can manage all of that, and it's up to you to do it, which does have the disadvantage because you have to do it. On the other hand, it's got the advantage because you will be able to do this. And I really want to show people that there's nothing to be scared of with this kind of thing, because, the worst that can happen is actually that iOS pops up with notifications going, are you sure you want to delete this? And you click, oh, no. And if actually it's trying to delete a lot of things, it will come up with that 3 times, which may be frustrating if you do want to delete 1,000 photos. On the other hand, if you're trying to do it by accident, Apple's got your back.
And you said it right there, fear. There's still this fear factor with features like Siri or like the Amazon lady, that, well, gee, I might tell it to do something I really don't want it to do, and then I can't go back. And that just really is not the case probably 90% of the time, 95% of the time.
I'd even go as far as 98% of the time, because all you have to know is what you said. Like if you're issuing a spoken command, you have to know what you said, and then you can type, how do I undo the command that you just said into Google? And most of the time it's as simple as putting a not or a don't in there. And it's the same thing with shortcuts. You can fix all of these things, and it's not hard. You just need to take that first step. And it's not really walking out on a limb. It's sort of circling around the tree to see that there is a limb, rather than anything else, because it's not that scary.
I'm going to borrow that analogy. I like that. Walk around the tree to see that there's a limb.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should folks do to prepare for your session? Should they do anything?
Well, they should turn up with a device, preferably with battery. I'm sure there will be places where they can plug in, but if they've already pre-charged their devices, that's good. And if they, for the longer session, definitely install the Shortcuts app. I will, of course, give people a moment to install it if they need to. But if they can install the Shortcuts app, we will be working with it. And even if they don't want to create any of this themselves, there are going to be some shortcuts that they can download and take away with them and run. So you're going to want that pre-installed.
Okay, so that's good. So you will actually be doing hands-on things with your phone if you go to Rose's session.
Yeah, definitely. Or you can use an iPad as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just if you want to do things like access health data, the health app, at least as it currently stands before WWDC, is not on your iPad. And regarding that, I will not be using the Apple developer betas at Macstock. I will be using the regular versions of iOS. So you don't need to worry about unexpected crashes on my end, I hope.
Okay, that's it. That's always good to know. And before you go, check out Rose with David Sparks on Automators, and check out her articles everywhere. And Rose, what's the best way to reach you on social media?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Rosemary Orchard. And if you want to see pictures frequently of chocolate or flowers, then it's Rosemary_Orchard on Instagram. So feel free to contact me there as well if that's your preferred method of communication.
Chocolate or flowers?
Yeah, and sometimes both.
Why?
I eat a lot of chocolate, and there are beautiful flowers in the park I walk through on the way to work.
Okay, very practical applications there. I like it. So at this point, we have to tell everyone that Macstock will be in Woodstock, Illinois at the end of July. We want you there. And to give them a little incentive, Rose, you have a speaker code, I believe.
I do. My speaker code is Rosemary, which will net you the unfortunately no longer active, but if you use my code, it pretty much still is, price. So the early bird price should be available with the code Rosemary.
Yes, and it is worthwhile. My code is MacVoices. I don't care whose code. Please use Rosemary's code. But whatever you do, use a code, get the
Yes.
discount, and get to Macstock. We're going to have so much fun. Rosemary, I know this is your first time there.
Yes, it is. David Sparks told me about how much fun he had at Macstock last year. And then he told me that Matt Parra uses episode 500 is going to be recorded live at Macstock. And so I said, all right, I'm going to be there. Well, I could talk to people as well. Let's do this. So I'm very excited.
Well, I keep making the point, and I do it every time. I'm sure folks are sick of it, that you can walk into the door and you don't have to know anyone. And in 5 minutes, you're going to have a friend. And by lunch the first day, you're going to know 40 people. It's just what Macstock is such a welcoming audience, and it's so much fun. And you have something in common with every single person right as soon as you walk in the door, because you are an Apple user.
Definitely. And of course, if you come to my session, I may well have automated stickers as well, which is definitely another incentive for people.
Ooh, so you're going to bribe people to come. I like it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Automator
I know.
stickers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and hopefully give people just one more reason to come to Macstock.
Yes, well, I very much hope to see everybody that's listening to this there. And if people didn't listen to this, then I still hope to see people there because I know Macstock is going to be amazing fun.
It will. Oh, and we should say that you're not just coming around the corner to Macstock. You're making a rather lengthy trip.
It's only about 10 hours on a plane direct from Vienna, so that's not too bad.
Rose, thanks so much. It's a pleasure to have you. This will not be your last time on MacVoices if I have anything to say about it.
Well, thank you. I would love to be back again.
We'll get you back. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. Again, Macstock2019.com. Use Rose's code of Rosemary or my code of MacVoices, but definitely get to Macstock. We'd love to see you there. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.